You would not have read many things, but you have to make conjectures. This has to be drilled down to your brain that you have to make conjectures. There is something called the hung parliament, right? Those are the situations when the role of the president becomes very important. Why? Do you all understand what is a hung parliament? No, you are wrong. Let me show you a video. It is in Hindi to begin with, but someone will translate it for you. Don't worry. Can you all see this?
इसमें क्या विवाद है? आप सीनियर है, इसलिए आपके सम्मान में
This is Narendra Modi ji saying a few things, few words to Chandrababu Naidu.
मैंने कभी कोई कमी नहीं छोड़ी है. आप सीनियर है, दल बदलने में आप सीनियर है, नए नए दलों से गठबंधन करने में आप सीनियर है, अपने खुद के ससुर की पीठ में छुरा भोंकने में. अरे आप सीनियर है, एक चुनाव के बाद दूसरे चुनाव में हारने में, एक चुनाव के बाद दूसरे चुनाव में हारने में, और मैं तो उसमें सीनियर हूं नहीं. आप
Please, someone translate this for those who cannot. Okay. Let me show you another video. Let me explain to you the role of president via whatever we are seeing today.
We are secular. We used to join BJP sometimes because of political compulsions. That is another thing. Today there is a democratic compulsion. You have to understand the democratic compulsion. CBI, ED, even so income tax, everybody is attacking. All institutions are demolished.
Today the joining, the glue you're saying is democratic compulsion. Earlier it was secularism. Today you believe there's a threat to democracy.
Both. Yeah.
It's both. But who will lead this group? Who will be the face? Who will be the leader of this? That's the question being asked.
All leaders are better than Narendra Modi. All leaders. The country needs, we are very clear, consensus politics. It is a great nation.
Yes.
So many cooperative federalism. What is cooperative federalism you have implemented?
But one leader will have to ultimately come out to be prime minister. So who will that be?
No, you can go through history so many times. After elections, prime ministers were chosen.
Right.
Any thoughts on this? To all those who are not following through on the elections, what if Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar, what if they decide to not support Modi ji's government? What is the reason why Modi ji, when he tweeted, why did he talk about NDA? He did not mention the word BJP, he used the word NDA. Why did he dedicate one tweet for Nitish Kumar ji and another one for Chandrababu Naidu ji? What was the need? Because a few minutes ago, we saw a video where he was talking about how senior Chandrababu Naidu ji is in many ways. Because he knows one thing, if they decide to support the India alliance, possibly there can be a new prime minister in India. Giorgia Meloni, she congratulated her best friend, Modi ji, going in with the assumptions that Modi ji and Meloni, they would go on to have good times for India and Italy. But what if Nitish Kumar ji and Chandrababu Naidu ji, what if they roll back their support? In that scenario, what will happen? That will be a scenario when, forget about no single party. Of course, no single party has clear majority in Lok Sabha. BJP does not have the majority. India Alliance also has no majority. What is this? This is a situation of hung parliament. It's a very unique situation. And in this situation, you realize another constitutional figure who is important. It is in this scenario the role of the president becomes important. Almost 25 years ago, in 1989 general elections, no party achieved a clear majority the way we have today. What happened? National Front, led by VP Singh, it emerged as a significant force. In that scenario, President R. Venkataraman, he invited VP Singh to form the government. No, VP Singh was sworn in as the Prime Minister. And with that, marked the end of the Congress's dominance. 1991 elections also resulted in the hung parliament. I know you will be surprised. You may think 1991, what a remarkable year. 1991 onwards, so many things changed in India. Liberalization to look east policy to Panchayati Raj. I cannot believe there was a hung parliament. But there was a hung parliament. And in that hung parliament scenario and situation, again, Venkataramanji invited P.V. Narasimha Rao as the leader to form the government. Narasimha Raoji ran a minority government. What is this minority government? Students of political science, tell me, what is this minority government? There are many accusations that minority governments, they cannot do any work. And there can be a question, especially in your pol science optional, there can be a question on this, around this. Generally, what is this minority government?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm not able to recall properly, but is it when the leader has minority support in the parliament? I mean, not the majority.
The 1991 general elections, Indian National Congress won around 232 seats. What does it mean? You need 272 seats. Here you are winning 232 seats. Today, BJP has won 240 seats around this time, approximately, give or take. It is not 272 seats. So there is a likelihood Modi ji might become the prime minister of the minority government. It is the minority government that lacks the majority. A majority required to pass legislations and motions independently. Why? Because a minority government relies on external support. External supports from other parties, perhaps independent members, to maintain the confidence in the House. Even if they have to pass some bills, they have to rely on the outside external support. They may do formal coalitions, they may do informal agreements, and they may do that a lot to survive the confidence votes, legislative proceedings. In the case of P.V. Narasimha Rao, Indian National Congress received support from smaller parties, even the independents, to stay in power. It is the minority government that needs to negotiate. It's the minority government that may compromise more frequently with the opposition parties. However, it's a remarkable thing. Despite being a minority government, Narasimha Raoji's tenure, it is noted for significant economic reforms, political reforms, foreign policy reforms. Minority government, that's also the time when judiciary comes into play. So what we have in India is a scenario where opposition may get the strength, judiciary may get the strength, and basis whatever happened around that post against Smriti Irani ji and her arrogance, civil servants are also getting some strength. Narasimha Rao ji managed to maintain political stability through skilled political maneuvering by focusing on issue-based support from various parties. PV Narasimha Rao's government was termed as a minority government. Why? Because it did not have an absolute majority in the Lok Sabha. It did not have 272 seats. It had to rely on the support of other parties and independents to function. If Modi ji had managed a few more extra seats, 272, the tweet that he tweeted yesterday would have read differently. Perhaps NDA would not have found the name. Or Narasimha Rao or Chandrababu Naidu ji, Nitish Kumar ji, they may not have become so important. Today in 2024, BJP will form minority government if there is a support from Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar. It depends. It's the outside support, the inside support, depends. But if these two leaders swing the other way, other things can happen. What if Chandrababu Naidu ji stumbles upon that video of Modi ji talking about all those things? He's done something similar for Nitish Kumar ji also. The first tweet of Nitish Kumar ji, do you know what did he tweet? He tweeted something around Environment Day. That's a tweet. But there is a likelihood we can see a new prime minister. So Meloni was too quick to congratulate. But of course, there's a high likelihood that Modi ji will become the prime minister, but there could be a possibility. But now my question is, if you were the president of India, who would you invite to form the government? You have the numbers, and you have a scenario. Let's assume that Nitish Kumar ji and Chandrababu Naidu ji, they are not supporting Modi ji. Then who will you invite to form the government? It will not be a regular affair. Modi ji is not going to go to the PMO, sign drafts at this stage. How many seats BJP has won or is expected to win? What's that number? Snesh?
Sir, 240.
And what about India Alliance?
The India Alliance, if you're talking about, it's 234.
Yeah.
230.
It's a close contest. BJP has 240 seats. India Alliance has around 235 seats. Can President of India go on to invite Rahul Gandhi ji to become Prime Minister? That can happen. Will not happen, but that can happen. Constitutionally, nothing stops the President from inviting Rahul Gandhi ji at this stage. If Rahul Gandhi ji can prove that, I have the support of TDP and GDU also, and a few independents. So looks like President has a discretion. President is becoming important. Generally, what happens is President may invite the leader of the largest party, single largest party, BJP ideally, to form the government. Ideally, this may happen. And after that, the Prime Minister will ask for a vote of confidence in the Lok Sabha. If BJP fails, or if for any reason BJP cannot demonstrate the majority support or loses the confidence motion, President may invite the leader of the next largest coalition, India Alliance, to form the government. So first invitation to Modi ji. This is based on the principle or the convention of giving the largest party the first opportunity to demonstrate their ability to command a majority. But again, that's a discretion. Even for that, Modi ji has to demonstrate that we have the support of JDU and TDP. There can be a possibility that we have another election. Ideally, basis the readings of Narendra Modi ji, he would prefer that. He may possibly run the minority government for a year. And the way we have seen the governance, the politics of his alliances, Nitish Kumar ji, Chandrababu Naidu ji, things can change, falter in 1 year. Not more than that. And if that happens, there can be another election. Ideally, BJP would prefer that and should prefer that. Politically speaking, from national resource wastage standpoint, I agree. India will lose. We had already spent so much money in this election. Looks like our entire economy is becoming the election-driven economy. Everything hovers around elections. So, but anyway, coming back to the President of India has many kinds of roles. Legislative role, executive role, judicial role. They have the pardoning powers. It is a president who appoints the governors of state. Anandata, who appoints the who appoints the judge of Supreme Court? Confused with the governor. President of India has so many functions, so many roles. President has diplomatic functions also. They do sign some important agreements on behalf of India. India-US Civil Nuclear Agreement. It involved President's role. With his signature, it got formalized. So let's come back to the original question. What was the statement one? Statement one was if the election of the President of India is declared void by the Supreme Court of India, all acts done by the President in the performance of duties before the date of decision becomes invalid. This seems logically incorrect. Think of all the acts President has done. Appointing the Prime Minister, Supreme Court judges, signing various deals. Supreme Court comes in later that your election was void. What will happen to all the previous acts done by the President? Logically, does it make sense? If all those acts, decisions, appointments becomes void, India will become a banana republic. That should be the response. See, it's general studies. That's the name of the paper. General studies. For general studies, you have to rely a lot on your general sense. Logically, you can get to right answers in the examination. So option one is ridiculous. Makes absolutely no sense. So many roles of president. We all know, we have all seen those roles. How can all of that be void? Think of that extreme scenario. If it's declared void, what happens to India? What was the second option? Anyone remembers? Rashika?
Yes, so the second option reads that election for the post of the President of India can be postponed on the ground that some legislative assemblies have been dissolved and elections are yet to take place. So
Yeah.
this is
But
also
think about this. There's an article 62. Let me make you read that article once. Read this article and tell me your thoughts. Article 62. Kirti, tell me your thoughts.
Sir, I think it is only mentioned that an election to fill a vacancy caused by the expiration of the term of office of president shall be completed before the expiration of the term. And secondly, it is mentioned that an election to fill a vacancy in the office of president occurring by reason of his death, resignation, or removal, or otherwise shall be held as soon as possible after and in no case later than 6 months from the date of occurrence of the vacancy, and the person elected to fill the vacancy shall, subject to the provisions of Article 56, be entitled to hold office for the full term of 5 years.
Okay. Tell me your thoughts.
So I think it is only mentioned that it has to be the elections have to be taken place within 6 months, and it nowhere mentions that if any legislative assembly, if it is dissolved. So constitutionally, there is no compulsion to wait for all the legislative assemblies to function.
Okay. When you stumble upon any UPSC question, go back to your Dravid zone and rely on your patience and calmness. Think of the extreme statement. What if there's any of all the states, what if there are elections due or assembly is suspended? With elections to the President of India will not take place. Article 62 of the Indian Constitution, in very simple terms, it mandates that an election to fill a vacancy in the office of the President of India should be completed before the expiration of the term of the ongoing president. Then you may think, President of India has an electoral college. What's that composed of? Who elects the President of India? What is that body? Myra?
So the elected members of both the houses of the parliament and the state legislatures.
The composition will have elected members of both houses of parliament. Lok Sabha, all elected members of Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha, all elected members of Rajya Sabha. Please make a note, nominated members of both the houses of parliament. They do not participate in the presidential election. That is fine, we know this. Second would be elected members of state legislative assemblies. Includes elected members of legislative assemblies of all Indian states. Includes elected members of legislative assemblies of UTs, Delhi and Puducherry. Members of legislative councils, they do not participate in the presidential elections. So you may think since MLAs are also participating, then perhaps if the assembly is dissolved, then who will elect? Does not matter. Why? It does not matter. Any thoughts? Or has this happened in the past? You may wrongly think if legislative assemblies are dissolved, then should they delay the presidential elections? Not possible. If that were the case, elections to the President of India will never take place. Because in India, elections are always happening, all the time. 2007, when Kalamji was the president and elections were due, at that time, some state legislative assemblies were dissolved. But still, elections took place. I think Goa, Uttar Pradesh, they were dissolved during the election period. But that did not delay the postpone the presidential elections. Similarly, when Kyani Zail Singh was elected as president, some state assemblies were dissolved. Elections took place. More recently, Jammu and Kashmir legislative assemblies were dissolved in 2017. Ram Nath Kovind was elected as president without any hindrance in the election process. And that is why I always tell you, read newspaper for 40-45 minutes. I don't care if you are reading the main content, read the headlines. Because most of the polity is context. If you know the context, you will never forget.